Hello everybody, my name is Smarty, short for Smarty Reads, and welcome back. Today I'm going to read chapter 9 of Mallory in the Spotlight. It's called A Tale of Two Friends, Part 2. Let us begin. So, the tale of the two friends continues as number 1 stands backstage, ready to go on the night of the biggest performance of her life. But something was troubling her. Her best friend, remember, girl number 2, the one who had been acting weird lately, still hasn't wished her good luck before the show. In fact, she hasn't said one word to her all day. Girl number 1 peered out into the theater. She saw girl number 2. She waved to her, but girl number 2 didn't wave back. Even though girl number 1 didn't think she should be the one to do this, she went to say a quick hello to her friend. When girl number 1 got to where girl number 2 was sitting, some very strange things happened. Girl number 2 didn't look like she was happy to see girl number 1. Not only did she not wish her luck in the show, she actually said that the only reason she even came was because her mother made her come. Girl number 1 was confused. She told girl number 2 that she didn't understand why she was acting this way. So girl number 2 shoved something into girl number 1's hand. It was a piece of paper. Unsure what was on the piece of paper, girl number 1 did what anyone would do who wanted to know what was on the piece of paper. She looked at it. But when she did, she didn't like what she saw. On the piece of paper was an email. It took a minute for girl number 1's brain to fully understand why girl number 2 had a copy of this email. It was an email that girl number 1 had written about girl number 2. She knew she hadn't sent it to girl number 2, but then, without having to think for another second, she knew exactly who did. And then on the top, there's girl number 1 reading girl number 2's piece of paper. Her friend, if you can call them that, whose name starts with an A and a D, must have sent her email to girl number 2. That's right, they sent something that was sent to them to someone who wasn't supposed to see it. When girl number 1 realized what had happened, at first she got angry and her mind was filled with questions. How could those girls have done something like that? Was it illegal to do something like that? Could they have gone to jail? And if they did, who would play their parts in the show? Why would they have done something like that if they were her friends? All of these questions ran through girl number 1's brain. She realized she felt sick. Not feverish sick, or like she needed to blow her nose sick, but sick in every part of her body. Sick from the top of her head to the tip of her toes, but especially sick in her stomach. She was mad at the girls who sent the email, but she knew that wasn't going to help anything with her best friend. What she had written didn't sound very nice. She knew it must have been why her best friend was so upset. She started to say something, but before the words came out of her mouth, girl number 2 stood up and ran out of the theater. Girl number 1 knew she had to find her best friend and talk to her. She could feel the tears starting to spill down her cheeks. She looked at the piece of paper in her hand and wished she could take it all back, or at the very least magically turn into a tissue. Would her best friend still want to be her best friend? She closed her eyes and made a wish that the answer to that last question would be yes. All she wanted to do was run out of the theater and find her friend and talk to her, but she knew she couldn't do that. The show was about to begin. And then at the top, there's girl number 1 crying, well, almost running into tears. That's the end of that chapter. I'll see you next time when I read The Show Must Go On.